Please help me welcome from the San Francisco Bay Area, Ted Ma.
Yes. Have you ever wondered why some people quit their job and others stay? What may surprise you is that research shows that 75% of employees leave their job because of their boss. Raise your hand if you can think of a boss who inspired you to be your best. Most of us. Who can think of a boss that you couldn't stand? Now, if you happen to be sitting next to that person, just act natural. I spent 17 years in network marketing building a sales team that we grew from 1 person to over 6,000 people. If you're not familiar with network marketing, you've probably heard of companies like Amway, Mary Kay, and Herbalife. What's unique about the industry is that everyone on your team is an independent contractor, so they don't have to do anything you tell them to, and they can leave at any time. That experience taught me a lot about how to motivate people to produce at a high level, how to reduce turnover, and how to get people out of their silos and working together as a team. As one of the youngest people to reach the top 1% in the company, everyone wanted to know what our secret was. The secret was figuring out how to develop new leaders. I learned one philosophy that made the biggest difference in our success, and that's what I want to share with you today. It's called tell, show, coach, do. Most leaders think that you can just tell people what to do and expect that they will do it. They miss the steps in the middle of show and coach, and then when people don't perform up to their expectations, they get frustrated and end up just doing the work themselves. What's interesting is that if you take the time, instead of just telling someone what to do, to show them by demonstrating it yourself, then coach them by providing support and guidance along the way, it will empower them to do it without you. I know we all get busy, so it can be challenging to find the time to show and coach, but sometimes as leaders, we need to slow down so that we can speed up. To better explain how this process works, I want to take you to the Tower Bridge in London, which is where my wife and I met George. We were in London celebrating our first anniversary, and when we got to the bridge, we saw a small shop next to one of the towers. The lady working there told us about a self-guided tour where we can take an elevator up to the top of the bridge and walk across the platforms. When we got to the top, where the first platform was, you're not gonna believe what we saw. The floor was made of glass. No, seriously, let me show you a picture. Look at this. So when you look down, you can see 150 feet below where all the cars are driving and pedestrians are walking. I'm thinking, do they seriously expect us to walk on that? Now, to be clear, I'm not afraid of heights. I just have a healthy respect for death. I had no intention of walking on the glass, and being the gentleman that I am, I told my wife, go ahead. Ladies first. For some reason, she didn't want to. But then she gets the bright idea that we should take a selfie and I should stand on the glass for it. So while we were debating, an older gentleman wearing a blue polo shirt and a name badge that said George walks over to us and says, why don't you come join me here on the glass? He figured out pretty quickly that I was not about to walk on there, so he explained to us all the facts about how safe the glass was. Even though I knew he was right, still wasn't walking on there. So George leans into me and says, young man, you don't want to look like a wimp in front of your wife, do you? Now my pride was on the line. So I reluctantly followed him onto the glass and convinced my wife to join us. Then George says, when you get to the other platform, if you want a good selfie, lay down on the glass. When you look up, you'll be able to see yourself in the mirrors that are on the ceiling. Now, I was nervous enough just standing on the glass, so laying down on it was a definite no. Just when I thought the conversation was over, George says, before you leave, I want to show you how safe the glass is. On the count of 3, let's all jump together. Excuse me? Is this a tryout for American Ninja Warrior? But as soon as he saw the look in my face, he knew exactly what to say. Young man, don't forget that your wife is watching you. So he counted to 3, and I jumped about 1 millimeter off the glass. But when we left George and went to the other platform, we both noticed that walking across the glass seemed a lot less scary. Thanks to his leadership, we not only walked across the glass, but we even lay down on it. Now, if it wasn't for George, neither of us would have set foot on there. But notice that George didn't just tell us what to do and expect us to do it. He told us, he showed us, he coached us, and then we did it on our own. Tell, show, coach, do. That experience highlights how important it is to show and to coach, and that is what makes the difference in developing your employees into leaders. When I come speak for your organization, I won't just tell your audience about how this process works. I'm going to show them in a fun and interactive exercise where we bring several audience members on stage and we connect them with rope handcuffs. That way, instead of just hearing how this process works, they get a chance to see it in action, as you see here on the screen. And we create an experience that they will remember. We all know that the information a speaker shares is not nearly as important as the experience they create. And these handcuffs are a part of that experience. If you come see me at my table during the break, I'll give you a demonstration and show you how it works. And no, you can't take the handcuffs home with you. In our last couple of minutes together, I'd like to share with you a poem called It's Time. We live the life we want. Better yet, the one we make. But how much pain can we take on our road to being great? I know I faltered and flustered, not sure how much more I could muster. Sick and tired of being lackluster, I almost broke. Almost settled on being the joke. I couldn't settle my soul. I was losing hope. While simultaneously, those around me were losing faith. Seeing the disappointment in their face, I realized success wouldn't wait. If I spend my time feeling bad about my life, I'll look up and have no more life to waste. I'm tired of the mistakes, tired of other people's opinions poisoning my soul, allowing their criticism to overshadow my goals. Tired of self-doubt, anchoring me to a life I was born to rise above. It's time for me to trust myself so others know my standards. Time to draw a line in the sand so they know who I stand with and what I stand for. Time to plan for a future bigger than anyone ever imagined. Time to turn my dreams into reality. Time to put closure on yesterday's tragedy. It's simply time to build for me and live for my family. Before now, things were off. All the elements were out of line. But something changed. I'm different. And now I know one thing for sure. It's time. My name is Ted Ma, helping organizations to develop their next generation of leaders so they won't lose their best employees. Thank you.